the secret to a good pot roast, of course, is first and foremost the roast. So we have some organic beef here. This is about 3.5 pounds. And we're going to start it off. It's already been cleaned and patted dry. And I'm just going to salt it with some sea salt and put it to the side while I get everything else ready. So literally just shaking some sea salt on it. And then I'm going to turn it over and do the same. Meat this size, you want it to be room temperature, because if it's cold, then it's going to cook uneven. And I'm making the pot roast like I learned from my mom how to make pot roast, and we stuff the roast with garlic. So one really quick way to do garlic in that you just do a little slice through the thin layers there, and you open it, and when you get a clove of garlic, you put it down. You take something heavy, I'm just using a measuring cup here, and you just lightly tap it. And it cracks it off. And then you can just peel it. Okay, so I use a whole bulb of garlic for the size roast that I have. And what I do is I take each of the cloves and then I cut it until each piece is about like that big. I next do what my mother used to do, which is actually season the garlic. So I'm going to put it in this bowl here. And I'm going to lightly coat it with olive oil. And a lot of this cooking is straight hands-on. And then I'm going to pepper it, because I'm from Louisiana and we like our stuff a little bit spicier. I'm going to add a little bit of cayenne pepper to this as well. So then I'm going to take my fingers and just coat it really, really well. And by the way, I'd like to apologize for my appearance, but I haven't been feeling all that awesome, and didn't feel like combing my hair or doing anything, but I did want to cook my husband's favorite meal, so love me as I am. Okay, so you just find a spot and you just stick the knife in that way. Try not to go all the way through, and then that way, and then you take a piece of garlic and you put it in that hole, and you do that all over until you have used all of the garlic that you've prepared. Now in the oven, I already have the Dutch oven. The Dutch oven's going to be going for about 45 minutes before we're going to put the roast in there. And you'll see why, because we need to sear the meat once we have it all seasoned good, so that the juices can get stuck in really well. One thing that a lot of people do is they put all of their potatoes and their vegetables in at the beginning of cooking. When you do that, it's all going to get overcooked and everything like that. So you need to get the vegetables that you want in to flavor the gravy in first, and then you're going to add the rest of the vegetables that you're actually going to eat with the meal after. I'm going to use 1 onion, a leek, 3 cloves of garlic, 2 stalks of celery, a carrot stick, some parsley, a bay leaf, and some thyme. And I'm going to season it as well, of course. One thing I like to say about carrots, I don't like to buy carrots in bags, like those pre-printed bags. I like carrots with the root still on them, because then you know how fresh the carrot actually is. If the root's still there and it's still soft and kind of pliable or whatever, you know that's a fresh carrot, and a fresh carrot really helps with the flavor. Alright, so this is everything that we're going to put in with the roast to get the initial cooking going, to get the gravy going. And as you can tell, everything's cut up in pretty big pieces, because, I mean, really, this stuff is just going to cook down really, really good. Our next step is going to be taking out the Dutch oven from the oven and getting the meat started. Alright, be really careful, because this has been in there for 45 minutes to an hour and it's really, really hot, but that's what you want. So it's empty and really hot. I'm going to put this aside over there, and while the Dutch oven is this hot, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You can see how hot that is. I'm going to tilt it around a tad bit. Make sure it coats the bottom. And then we're gonna put our meat in. And you see how that's sizzling? All right, we've had it in here for 3 minutes, browning on one side. Now we're gonna take our hands and turn it over and brown it on the other side for 3 minutes. Be careful because it is hot. So see how it's nice and brown on that side? And now we're gonna put in like a tablespoon of butter. And that's gonna start melting down there. And what we're gonna do now is flour both sides of the roast. Really good. And we're gonna turn it over and flour that side as well. Try to get it all along the side. We're gonna put this in the oven now for 3 minutes on each side. And that's once we finish that, then we're gonna put the root vegetables in. And I'm being real specific with my directions, okay? The thing with working with organic products, that they end up going bad quick. So one of the tricks that I do is I cut it for my flour and sugar and stuff like that. I cut off the best by date from the packaging and put it inside of the scoop, and then I sit that inside of the flour so that I know when it's no longer. I'm gonna turn the meat over one last time. Oh, that looks so good. And then we're gonna add the good stuff, which would be the root vegetables. I'm just gonna put that all over on top of it. And look how gorgeous that is. It's so pretty, the orange and the green and the white. And then we're gonna add a half cup of red wine. I'm using a Merlot. And then we're gonna fill this with water up to the top of everything, okay? I'm going to cook it in the oven as it is without taking the top off it for 2.5 hours. After 2.5 hours, I'm going to check it just to see how tender it is and how the juices being reduced and all that good stuff, and everything is being cooked down really, really good. And then that's when we're going to, after 2.5 hours, that's when we're going to add the potatoes and the vegetables and stuff like that, so that it's not those vegetables aren't overcooked when you're ready to actually eat the meal. Here is our roast, and we're going to lift it up out of here. It is so tender. I've had a few tastes of it, and it is so delicious. Okay, so you ever wonder what this thing is for? I used to wonder too. And now what I use it for is to take out as many of these vegetables as I can because I don't need them anymore. During the last 30 minutes of the cooking process, I boiled some salted water and put in some potatoes and carrots and some celery. And that is what we're going to put in the gravy. And then we add our roast back. Oh, look, meat falling off. Look at that. And I'm just gonna close this up, and it's pretty much ready. All we have to do is add the potatoes that we're gonna do mashed potato, or some brown rice, another vegetable if you want to, but you don't really have to. And again, this has been one of my husband's favorite meals. He doesn't get to eat it that often. It's his birthday tomorrow, and I wanted to prepare something for him that just melts in his mouth and that he absolutely adores. I've been having a pretty rough week, but for me, one of the things that I love to do is cook. And it always, brings back memories of cooking in the kitchen with my mother and just, hanging out with her, and it makes me miss her a lot. But I'm the type of person, I always show my love through feeding my family and friends, and I think my husband's really gonna know how much I love him when he tastes this meal. So, okay, I hope it wasn't too intricate for you. This is how I do my roast, and I'm really curious to know how you do yours. Smooch.